Welcome, everybody, to the last open mic of the season, not the season, of the year. Our season goes from September to June. So, sorry. Um, Welcome to the November edition of Open Mic Night. Sylvia is going to share first. So, let's give you the stage.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story about chocolate. I was at the top of Telegraph Hill in San Francisco with my little sister where we lived at the base of Coit Tower. I would be 9 or so and she would be 6. We crawled through a hole in the fence and sat on a rough rock at the edge of the cliff in the wind. And I broke in half the piece of chocolate I had brought with me, and we sat and ate it, looking out at the bay. My sister was small and thin and looked fragile with wispy brown curls and bright green eyes. And she was wearing what all little girls wore then, a flower print short sleeve dress that reached just to the knees. It was important to break the candy precisely in half. I was good at it. We were hungry children, and it mattered that we always each got exactly half. I would hold up the 2 pieces and measure them against each other while my sister gravely watched. And if one was larger, I would bite off the excess and then give that half to my sister. Chocolate, fragrant, so fragrant, dark and rich, and tasting like something important, something just on the edge of our sight, vast as the bay below us. I have a tricky heart. I had my first cardiac arrest when I was 20, and I've had many since then. And I was a chocolate addict, even knowing that chocolate or anything with caffeine made my heart act up, until I was almost 30, and a doctor told me, think of it this way, you can eat chocolate or you can live. Oh, that was pretty clear. I quit cold turkey that day. Now we're old, and my sister still loves chocolate. She lives in Boise, Idaho, and I take a lot of pleasure in finding interesting chocolate and sending it to her. Single origin fair trade chocolate from Madagascar or Venezuela, made bean to bar in a warehouse in Southeast Portland, kind of thing. She reports back on how she liked each one. Meh, or pleasant but not earth-shaking, or knocked my socks off, or socks knocked all the way into the next galaxy. And once it was socks died of ennui. But for me, chocolate is just a memory. A rock on top of Telegraph Hill, 1,000 shards of sunlight glimmering on the dark blue bay water like bits of a shattered mirror. The wind soughing past us and ship horns droning out on the bay. The smell of the chocolate, rich, dark, sweet, and then the taste with that addictive edge. The rough rock under our bottoms through our too thin dresses, and the wind cold on our exposed arms and legs. And chocolate, carefully shared and eaten in silence. Chocolate, which tasted like love.
Lovely. I love that story. Ugh, makes me want to go eat chocolate. Truly. It's lovely. What a lovely memory, too. Thank you. Welcome, Storm. Thank you for joining us. Hi. Sylvia was just sharing a story. We've just begun, so welcome. Did you want to share this evening, or were you?
Yes, please.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's have Jonathan go next.
So Sylvia's talking about the necessity of equal sharing really brings back a lot of memories. And we had all the five of kids around the dinner table, and I was serving things out. I had to get pretty precise about portioning, or else trouble was bound to ensue. But that's a fond memory. So the first song I'm going to do was it's called, especially after the recent news about people with the whole global climate change stuff. This is a song that's a little bit inspired by thoughts I had around those kinds of uh, those kinds of perceptions in the world. And this is it's a little dark. I'll apologize for starting off dark, but it's called "Wrath of Mother." I grew up with lots of brothers. We were tight but pressed each other. All of our pranks, one thing was clear. We could not put a thing past Mother dear. We disobeyed and she would hover. She told us frank, we soon discovered what we faced if we did not adhere. How we must atone if we disobeyed Mother dear. Some are born in ash, some in butter, some make it at last beyond the gutter, but each will see as they disappear. Just one guarantee from Mother dear. Yeah, Mother is a metaphor, Mother is a fact. If you're in the wrong, she will react. You can wish all that she forgave will always be the case. Nothing that you've done you'll have to face. Here's the caution, tell it to each other. She gives birth and you will die. You can count on Mother. I hear folks say they'll soon recover. They won't lose as others suffer. That they're free from the tune of spheres. But they'll learn the truth from Mother dear. One man pulls us in, one another a shover. One lives in thorns, one deep in clover. Then they won't last long, do not fear. Imbalance will not last with Mother dear. Earth's beauty makes one's heart flutter, though it can storm, quake, and shudder from nurture to the unwiped tear. We see all moods from our Mother dear. Yeah, Mother is a metaphor, Mother is a fact. If you're in the wrong, she will react. You can wish all that she forgave will always be the case. Nothing that you do, you'll have to face. Here's the caution, tell it to each other. She gives birth and you will die. You can count on Mother. Like I say, a little dark, but
Sorry. I guess it's a little dark, but I don't know. It's also motherly. I don't know. It just like it feels true and
I hoped it had enough context to not just be a downer, But
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were speaking about doling out portions of food for 5 children, are you speaking about your children or you
Yeah.
as well?
Yes, my children. Yes, we were a crowd into ourselves,
Mhm.
and
Did you grow up with many siblings as well?
I did also. Yeah, I sort of almost repeated my inadvertently my almost my exact birth family. 4 boys and a girl, all kind of in the same order, and just about as close in age. So
Interesting, interesting.
it, yeah, I ended up having a lot more empathy for my parents than any of my other siblings did. I'll tell you that.
With all those children, yes.
Yeah.
It's a big family for sure. Well, thank you, Jonathan. We'll come back
Welcome.
around again. I see Sadie has joined in the back there. Yes, Liz. Yes, excellent. Hi, Sadie. She's like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." Oh goodness. Chris, are you ready to go? So you want to do either your whichever you like first.
Okay, I made a slight change. I'm gonna just read one thing and then I'll read another thing later. So yeah, and we are also joined by our canine companions in the back there as well. I don't think you can see them. I didn't write anything. I don't have anything original that I wrote for tonight, but I I was thinking about because I was thinking, I don't have anything for this week, and I know a lot of people cover songs and do things, and I don't sing, but there's a song I heard on the radio on the independent radio station here, and I looked it up because I thought it was so interesting. It's actually a hip hop song, and the end of it is a spoken word piece, and it just every time I hear it, I play it a lot now that I've heard it. I looked it up, and the song is called "The Feeling" by a group called Blue and Exile, and I don't know if it'll sound as great when I'm reading it. It sounds so amazing when I hear it because it's this really beautiful like kind of this piano accompaniment to it and this musicality. But I'm going to go ahead and read it because I think it's just such an interesting. It's just kind of a beautiful little piece of writing here. So it's called "The Feeling." This is just the end of the song, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. Only the feeling gives real happiness. Only the feeling, nothing less. Only the feeling makes a friendship true. The feeling that I feel for you. Only the feeling makes life feel all right. The feeling every day and night. Only the feeling makes true desire. Only the feeling takes the feeling higher. Only the feeling makes the baby smile. Only the feeling makes a man a child. Now only the feeling makes a house a home. Only the feeling makes a word a poem. Joy is the feeling that we feel so strong. Only feeling right makes you not feel wrong. Lust and greed, feeling others are leaning. Without feeling, life has not much meaning. Only the feeling makes true songs to sing. Only the feeling makes God, men be king. Only choice is right or wrong, but never in between. Only the feeling makes the girl a queen. Only the feeling we shouldn't be dealing. No killing or stealing when people use feeling. Only the feeling makes your children try. Hate for all feeling makes the heroes die. Only the feeling makes the world at peace. Only the feeling makes loved ones release. Love life with feeling. Drugs don't have to be. Only the feeling makes your life carefree. Only the feeling makes you feel God's grace, the feeling for the human race. Only the feeling God plants life through seeds inside. The feeling of nature, man's foot is never dry. Only the feeling makes the water flow. Only the feeling makes true birth grow. The feeling of self-worth brings joy back to this earth. The feeling of self-pride makes you feel so good inside. Self-respect and knock on wood, rejecting lust each man should. Only the feeling makes you laugh. Feel so good, be thankful and kneeling for the feeling. Yes, we should be dealing with only the feeling. Only the feeling of great joy from a little girl or boy. Oh yes, it's the feeling evil can't destroy. Only the feeling creates harmony, the feeling that you feel for me. Only the feel of love makes life feel divine. The feeling of friendship makes you yours, makes you mine. Yes, our love is dealing with only the feeling. The world is worth healing because of the feeling. Nature's dealing with only the feeling. Yes, but only the feeling, only the feeling. Yes, our love is dealing with only the feeling. And if you can listen to the song sometime, it's just such a beautiful. It's the way this person's reading it. It's kind of a sounds like a little bit of an elderly man reading it, and it's just some beautiful musical accompaniment at the end. And I don't know, I just think it's beautiful. I listen to it a lot, and thought I would just share it tonight.
Nice. Say again the name of the band.
BLU, Blue and Exile.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll come back to you, yeah, for the next round. Storm, I see you. You are joining us from Massachusetts.
That is correct.
Ooh. We have two East Coasters here today. The rest of us are in Portland, Oregon. I assume, Jonathan, you're in Portland, Oregon, right? Yeah. Well, welcome. Are you ready to share, Storm? Okay. I also want to tell you we are recording, so if you would not like me to record, I can stop the recording.
No, I'm fine with that. I actually had a similar question if you would give me permission to record myself onto my own computer.
Oh, I don't know.
If you go under participants, you can give me permission.
Okay.
And I will put this on full speaker and full screen, and so I will be the only one who is being recorded.
All right.
Excellent.
So I am. Allow record local file.
Yep. Great. And you probably will hear an annoying voice, and you'll hear it twice because I'm going to record the poem, stop the recorder, and then record the song.
Okay.
Okay. A poem of thanksgiving. Give thanks for living, thanks for a home, for time spent together and others alone. Thanks for a stone, a flower, the skies, the looks we find in other folks' eyes. Thanks for the future, thanks for the past, thanks for the bonds that hold us fast. Thanks for today and thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for the joy and thanks for the sorrow. Thanks for our learning from whatever's in store. Thanks for our knowing that there is more. More waiting in you, more waiting in me. Better worlds to form, better people to be. And then we just went through Veterans Day. So this is an original song called The Man Who Used to Be. There's a grave on the hillside, well kept and neatly shorn. There's a grave on the hillside where a woman comes to mourn. Timothy was the name of the man who used to be, till he caught a bullet wrong in the land across the sea. 69 was the year. When Timothy was called up, they toasted his conscription with a drink from a loving cup. 70 was the year that he went to the front line. He wrote her lots of letters, was careful all the time. There's a grave on the hillside, well kept and neatly shorn. There's a grave on the hillside where a woman comes to mourn. 71 was when the wrong bullets found their mark. While he scouted the jungle, his own troops shot him in the dark. 72 was when they brought the hero home with a medal on his chest and slow death in his bones. There's a grave on the hillside, well kept and neatly shorn. There's a grave on the hillside where a woman comes to mourn. 73 was when Timothy finally died. Since his suffering was over, hardly a person cried. 74 was when we finally left the war. 50,000 men had died, and it shattered millions more. There's a grave on the hillside, well kept and neatly shorn. There's a grave on the hillside where a woman comes to mourn. There's a grave on the hillside, well kept and neatly shorn. There's a grave on the hillside where a woman comes to mourn. I wrote both the poem and the song.
Wow, that thank you so much for sharing both of those. Um, Beautiful. The yeah, that was very powerful. Your poem was lovely. It felt like I had heard it before, but I guess not because it's an original and I've never met you. So unless you're published in somewhere that I might know, but that's lovely. If you would like to share that, I don't know if you're comfortable with. I don't know. I would love to have a copy of your poem. I'd love to share it with my family at Thanksgiving. It's really beautiful. And your story, or your
Well, that's part of why I did the recording. I will send you the recording if you give me your.
okay, yeah, and we do the recording that we make here tonight as well. It goes on our YouTube channel, so you're welcome to see it there as well and share that if you'd like to share with your friends and family. Um, yeah, the your story, your song, which is essentially a story, was very touching and horribly sad, and so true. Um, so thank you for sharing that. There was some comments.
Yeah, yeah, if you give me your email and if you could put the YouTube channel in the chat, then I can cut and paste them both.
Yeah. Oh, Liz, it sounds. Yeah, okay, Liz is on it. How did you find us, Storm? How do you?
I think, I'm not sure. I think maybe Eventbrite,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure that that's correct. I got an email inviting me to come.
That was probably from me, but I wonder how I got your email. that's so curious. Like how it originally, how I got your email. Because you never came in person at all in Portland.
Oh no, I'm in Massachusetts.
That's so interesting because I get those emails and then send out a group email to folks who have registered in the past. And that's so I just, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm so glad
Would you have like the Rainy Camp email list or something like that?
oh, I don't even know what that is.
Okay, then that's not it. I
We're
go to the Portland Sing online.
but I wouldn't have. I didn't get emails from outside people. It's just folks who have registered through either in person or from like our channel, like the past Zooms. I don't know. It's just divine
I
intervention.
guess I was meant to be
Can
here.
other people forward your invites, Christina? Because
Yeah.
because that may be what happened. Somebody might have known Storm that's already attended and figured he would be, as he is, a very welcome addition to the group. So
Possible. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure your email looked familiar, so I feel like I've actually written it into the email. I think you got a direct email from me. Anyway, I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't matter. You're here and you shared, and it was wonderful. And thank you. And I hope that you come back in the future.
Do you ever go on to poetry Zooms yourself? Maybe we met on some other Zoom.
No, this is the only thing I host, and I don't. I don't really do any other beyond this, so I don't know. It's curious.
Kismet.
It's curious kismet. I like it.
a storm blew in, right?
From the eastern seaboard. Sorry. Okay, so let's go back around if y'all would like. Oh, did you have something, Chris? Yes, I see.
Could I read my second piece? Because I think it's going to follow Storm's really well, actually.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm sorry, and it's super short, so it's like maybe 30 seconds or a minute. It's so short. So, and I'm sure everybody here knows this. It's not something I wrote again. This is a poem by John Donne. It's his meditation number 17 from Devotions Upon Emergent Occasions, and it goes like this. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as any manner of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. And I don't know why that's been on my mind lately, but I that popped into my head a while back, and it's just been kind of, how things they just go around, and it's just been in there. And there's a lot going on in the world, but we're involved. We're all the one connected piece. And if one little, I love that poem, just such a beautiful thought. If one little piece of dirt washes away, the entire continent is changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
I love that poem.
very powerful. What's that, Sylvia?
I have always loved that poem.
Yeah.
And some later date, I'll tell you all a funny story having to do with that poem.
I look forward to that. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
I agree. It was a good transition. Well placed. Sylvia, would you like to read again? You said you had two things to share.
Yeah, I do. And this one is longer. but it's a funny story. So I hope you enjoy it. At one point when I was young and living in Santa Cruz, California, 5 or 6 of us lived in a rental that had 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, the Jack and Jill kind. You had to go through either my bedroom or another resident's bedroom to get to the bathroom. You can imagine many incidents of comedy, embarrassment, irritation, or all of the above at once. At one point, we had possibly the world's most annoying housemate living in the front room. This gal, Anne, had been acquired by an especially gormless one of us while the rest of us weren't there to object. What was he thinking? We had all already told him that he was never going to be the bouncer in our speakeasy, but he did this terrible thing and rented a room to this terrible person when the rest of us weren't there to stop him. Anne never walked, she barged. She never spoke, she brayed. She poked hard and with persistence, anything that looked like it didn't want poking, convinced that that was the way to make her world a better place. We always did seem to have a lot of people at that house at any given time. The thing that happened this particular night was Anne had her boyfriend Bruce visiting from Stanford. Bruce was a mathematics nerd. Anne was always complaining that he wouldn't have sex with her because he was saving himself for marriage. We knew all about it because Anne would go on and on about it like a cat in heat. She would think of all kinds of different ways to interest Bruce in the activity, but no dice. Another thing about that night is that I wasn't there. I had gone to San Francisco for some medical reason and was staying overnight. My sister, as it happened, needed a place to stay that night for reasons having to do with her own large and complex household just up the street. So she and her boyfriend were sleeping in my room. Although actually what they were doing wasn't sleeping. So eventually Anne's guy Bruce needed to pee and he asked her where the bathroom was. Anne said she would show him the way. My bedroom door was closed, of course, but that never stopped Anne. She barged on in without knocking. Also typical for her was that she didn't even notice that there were 2 people having hot monkey sex in the bed in that room. Something, however, had made her think of sex. So when she got to the bathroom, she took out her various tubes of, alas, still unused, spermicidal cream and began tasting them critically. Meanwhile, poor Bruce had taken one look at the bed, gasped in horror, and clapped his hands over his eyes. My sister and her boyfriend, having already been interrupted by Anne's barging through, were further astonished to see a tall, red-headed, complete stranger trying to navigate from the door to the bathroom with his eyes covered, bumping into furniture and tripping over hastily discarded shoes and clothing. Bruce finally arrived in the bathroom and there was Anne. "What the hell are you doing with your hands over your eyes?" she said. "Here, taste this, and tell me which one you like better." "Oh, for God's sake, never mind. I'll ask somebody else." Anne barged back into the bedroom and stopped by the bed. "Here," she said to the couple in the bed, "taste this, and tell me which one you like better." My sister and her boyfriend, dumbfounded, tasted the 2 spermicides and gave their somewhat subdued opinion. Anne barged on through and back to her room. Bruce, meanwhile, was stranded in the bathroom. What to do? There was another door out of the bathroom, so he didn't necessarily have to repeat his nightmare journey. But what unknown horrors might lie on the other side of that door? People were making a lot of mysterious noise out there. We had housemates who were vaudeville performers, and I think it was them practicing shtick for one of their shows. It could sound scary. Bruce decided he would rather bear the ills he had than fly to others that he knew not of. So he clapped his hand over his eyes again, threw open the door, and blundered back through the bedroom, feeling his way toward the other door, past my sister and her boyfriend, who by now were just sitting up in bed with eyes wide and mouths ever so slightly agape, watching the parade. Bruce left early the next morning, with his virginity, if not his modesty, unviolated. That was the last we ever saw of him. Anne resumed her tireless yowling about not getting laid. One of my vaudeville housemates had an old buddy, Steve, who, as it happens, was also, like Bruce, a mathematician at Stanford. And not long after that night, he came for a visit. I remember sitting in the kitchen while we explained to Steve about Anne and her one loud and constant complaint. He said, "Let me take care of that." He knocked politely and disappeared into Anne's room, and we heard nothing more. Whatever he did, it was effective. Anne had no more complaints about not getting laid. In fact, she never mentioned the subject again. But my favorite part of the story comes some weeks later, as told by Steve on a second visit. Steve, the other mathematician. At Stanford, in the lobby of one of the classroom buildings, he came upon Bruce furiously defacing a framed map of California by crossing out the town of Santa Cruz. Steve asked him why. Bruce told him that Santa Cruz was a hellish place where people fornicated in the hallways. He told the story of his miserable night there and about how Anne broke up with him the next morning. He ended his story by saying, "And I realized that if I knew why she made me walk down that hallway where people were having sex, I would understand Anne. And I think if I knew why she had me taste those tubes of toothpaste, I would understand why we broke up." That's my story.
Oh my goodness. All the shenanigans that you've been through and only partially experienced. I'm sure you heard. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. It's so absurd and hilarious, and I'm so glad you are telling the story for us to hear. It's great.
Very San Francisco story, or at least Bay Area story.
I love how it's all like all these people were not even, well, because he was like at Stanford, that's not that close, and then the other person was like, oh my gosh, the connections. It's great. Good story. Thank you. Okay, we're back to Jonathan, yeah? Here we go, Jonathan.
Well, geez, that's a tough story to follow. I have a couple of things I had sort of on deck. Being autumn, I've sort of got a lot of introspective stuff. This actually is one that's sort of sounds a lot pushier than I intended to, but it's intended to be understandably metaphorical from my liberally religious youth upbringing in the Unitarian Church. So it's called Be Your Own. Troubled times can make us wish someone has command, that we can lean on one thing sure, child's holding a father's hand. But that's not the way it is. I know how the thought teases. In the end we must be our own. Be our own Jesus. I know how shadows fall on the right of way before us. We look for light to help us pass, make it through the forest. It may be better to be lost. You learn where every tree is. That's the way we map our way to be Oh, Jesus. Leaders lead and take the heat. Some lose all as reward. Some say we can each take part, but few rush to come forward. Without the masses, loss is sure. At least that is the thesis. I propose we be our own. Be our own Jesus. Go to where the air is still a place you find quiet. Leave the madmen on the street. Leave them to scheme and riot. Set your true nature free. Feel how calm releases. It is well within you to be your own Jesus.
Nice. Yes, I hear that Unitarianism in there. I love it. Where did you grow up?
Sort of over there,
In Portland.
out in yeah, Portland, out in the what was then the not in Portland part of Portland before it was all annexed in up on Mount Scott, so the unincorporated area.
Oh, it like May.
No, we were in the David Douglas district out there, so it's like no, it's not Maywood Park, and it's still now it's all Portland, but
Did you,
back then it was.
what was the church? What was the first Unitarian church there yet? Or
No, my parents went to a Unitarian fellowship out in out toward Gresham, and it was a very bring your own chair and biscuit kind of thing. It was pretty low key, but
cool.
that was what it was.
I spent a few years, like I guess maybe from 8 till high school, going to Unitarian church with my mom, and then at my dad's house, we went to a Christian Reformed church. So I had quite the dichotomous learning experience in terms of religious education. But
My non-practicing Catholic wife always says, "How did you do it? You didn't even have anything to rebel against." And I said, "Well, you find something. That's just the way adolescence is." But it is Reformed church is a little different, I think, than
yeah,
mainline Unitarian.
yeah, well, yeah, it was a weird experience over there. But the Unitarian, not weird, just pretty cool, pretty cool. Got to learn about all different kinds of religion, and there's no judgment. Isn't that right, Charlie? Yes. Cool. So, whoa, a dozen times. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when you registered or how you came to register. You found us somehow. And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you joined us. I'm just reading things. Okay. Are there more? Anybody else have more to share this evening? You don't have to. It's okay.
I could do one more piece.
We're here for it.
This is for the fact that we are, I don't know exactly what they're calling it. I think they're calling it Native American Month. Let me get back to recording. Full screen. Okay. Heritage. With this past, one must either stay or leave. Yet to stay is to surrender, and to leave is to desert. The burial mounds in these hills know I ride in this caravel, in this caravel, only so I needn't decide. People, are you ready to save this land? Save this land, save this land. People, are you ready? We still can save this land. Sister, come and help me save this land. Save this land, save this land. Sister, come and help me, we still can save this land. Brother, do your duty, save this land, save this land, save this land. Brother, do your duty, we still can save this land. Mother, use your energy, save this land, save this land, save this land. Mother, use your energy, we still can save this land. Father, while you're able, save this land, save this land, save this land. Father, while you're able, we still can save this land. Elders, through your teachings, save this land, save this land, save this land. Elders, through your teachings, we still can save this land. Children, by your laughter, save this land, save this land, save this land. Children, by your laughter, we still can save this land. People all together, save this land, save this land, save this land. People all together, we still can save this land. People all together, we still can save this land.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love, love, love. Do you always sing a cappella or do you ever have
Always a cappella.
always a cappella? Does anybody ever collaborate with you? No, no, to play an instrument?
I've had that happen a couple of times pre-pandemic, but mainly I had written hundreds of poems and over 100 songs that nobody had ever heard.
Wow. So since the pandemic, you've been able to do more. You've been
I am performing in 10 different countries.
able. That's amazing.
I literally, in certain circles, have a worldwide reputation.
That's awesome. I'm so glad. We were just wondering because I had seen your registration come in, and I was like, who is this storm person? And we were excited to at the prospect of who you were. So you did not disappoint. Your reputation, even though we didn't know what it was.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all. As always, I love these evenings together, and it has been really special. Still, to continue it online, and even more so when we were able to still connect with folks who are on the East Coast, like Chris and Storm. So, you know, as much as I think about, going back in person, because Storm, we used to do this in person in a little studio, little space, and but it's been over a year and a half now since we've done that, and I keep toying with the idea of going back to in person, but we're like, I don't know. And then, but then this is wonderful. So, so as long as people keep coming in this platform, then I think we'll continue it this way, unless I get major pushback from the locals.
And how often are you doing it at this point?
We do it monthly, so the third Saturday of the month, which means, except let me say that this upcoming month, December, we will be doing a fundraiser for the intergenerational program that we have here at Cathedral Park Performing Arts Collective. And it's called Carols for a Cause. We will be streaming it, but it will be in person as well. So that sort of takes the place of our Saturday event, or the open mic. So for you locals, it will be at the Fixin' 2. This will be in person, requiring vaccination and limited numbers of people allowed. And so, but more information will be coming out about that soon. And Storm, if you follow us do you do social media? Are you a social media kind of a person? Because if you are, that's how you would learn about things. Or I could
No, I just have my email.
email. Okay. Would you like me to add you to our?
That would be wonderful.
Okay. So I don't send out emails all that often. Maybe once a month or so.
Yep.
Having your event type thing. So sure. Okay.
Okay, great.
Because we'd like to stream it at least the it's called Carols for a Cause. It's winter songs, basically singing together. And last year we did it online exclusively. It was great. People joined from their living rooms, of course, and we streamed it on YouTube and Facebook and Crowdcast. But this year, I think it'll just either be YouTube and Facebook, or just one of the other. I don't know. We hasn't figured it out, the details yet. But we'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook in part because they keep telling me I'm using an alias and I need to use my real name.
Oh, that's frustrating. I don't like that.
Storm, I put the open mic night dates in the chat if you wanted to copy and paste it somewhere, if that's helpful for you. It just has all the tonight's and then all the way through 2022. And then you can know that's what I do. I put them in my calendar so I know they're coming up. And then I register when I get the email.
Smart.
Excellent. Yes. And they're all on the Zoom link anyways, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Yeah.
And it looked like you use the same link every time.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
Same
Excellent.
So if you save the registration, you don't have to re-register each time.
Exactly.
Excellent.
But if you forget or you don't save it, then you have to re-register, and that's not a big deal. I mean, it's not that difficult of a process.
All right. Well, thank you.
I'll just real quick in the chat put our donation link if anybody would like to donate to tonight's event and other events like this. Greatly appreciated, not expected, but we are a nonprofit organization, in case you weren't aware. And that is very helpful to have donations. So thank you for those of you who have donated in the past and continue to donate, because it is greatly appreciated. And I will miss you all next month. But maybe I'll see you in person, or maybe you'll see me singing at you winter songs if you want to join online. Because I will be leading you in song. Hopefully I'll have somebody joining me as well, so it won't just be me, but we'll see. Yet to be determined who that person might be. But we'll find out soon. So if I don't see you or talk to you or hear from you between now and January, I hope you have wonderful rest of your November and December, and good time with family and friends, and stay safe and warm and eat good food, and we will not clean ourselves while people are watching. Thank you. And
I had an out of left field thought. You aren't involved with Morris stuff, are you, by any chance?
say Morris.
Morris dancing?
No, I don't know what that is.
Are
Okay,
you a
well,
Morris
then
dancer?
Jingle
I
bells.
am a Morris dancer.
That's so cool.
I don't know what that.
I'm one of the founders of Juggler Meadow Morris Men. We've been going for 40 years. I can't dance anymore, but I'm now their poet laureate and do a bit of fooling and crowd interaction when we can interact with the crowds.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm so curious as to how you found us. It's so interesting because
I know, and I keep thinking of a way, and none of them work.
Well, I am looking forward to the moment when one or the other of you gets to tell the story of how Storm showed up in the Cathedral Park open mic. And I was just going to say it's going to be a good one, I'm sure. Lovely to meet you, Storm, and good to see everybody else. Hopefully, I'll
Wonderful
see
to meet
you
you,
at the Fix
Jonathan.
too. And